Even if you think that you don't know much about money, just try to start. Pick up a book, start following educators like Byron and myself, and start immersing yourself into a culture that is going to resemble what you want in life. There is this quote that if you surround yourself with the 5 people who you want to be like, you will start inheriting those exact traits of those people. So it's not an exact, okay, this is a financial tip, here's the calculation you have to do. No, it's not that. It's start immersing yourself with people that are successful in finance, that you can start taking some different financial tips, tricks, advice that you want, and you can start implementing it for your financial future.
In 1837, Horace Mann created the education system, a system at the time designed to pump out factory workers and professors. The same system that is still being used today in the 21st century. Now, Mann's system is backfiring. We are being molded by the same industrial system that has existed for close to 200 years. That system delivers us into a digital economy that has no need of our outdated skills. This isn't our teachers' fault. This isn't the government's fault. This is due to a rapidly changing world full of technology and unforeseen circumstances. And us Gen Zs are caught in the middle. Welcome to the Driven Young podcast, the podcast for stressed, overwhelmed young Australians, teaching you practical life skills you can implement now to set yourself up in life. And now your host, Byron Dempsey.
Welcome back to the Driven Young podcast, and today we are talking finance and TikTok. If you are a regular listener of the show or follow me on TikTok, you would know I do all my interviews in person. I've had opportunities to interview some massive people online, but I try and keep this in person for an array of different reasons. However, I did break that rule for today's guest. Today, I'm joined by Taylor Price, also known as Pricelesstay online. She is an online influencer who specializes in financial education for Gen Z. She currently has over 900,000 followers on TikTok and close to 100,000 followers on Instagram. Now, finance is one of the biggest things I think schools should teach us. And in this conversation, we get into some simple finance tips you can use now, why Taylor started getting into finance. We talk about TikTok and how she started and grew her account to over 900,000 followers. We get into the good parts and the bad parts of TikTok and so much more. I just want to emphasize how impressive it is that she has grown her accounts to this size. Growing on social media by putting out educational content is really, really hard and a massive grind. Most people aren't on TikTok to be educated, and people are far less likely to follow you even when you have a video go viral. So to have almost reached 1 million followers through educational content alone is a massive achievement, and we will go into how she did this in today's episode. As per usual, if you enjoyed this episode or any others, please reach out to me and DM me on Instagram at Byron__Dempsey, or just search Byron Dempsey. I would love to get your feedback or answer any of your questions. Next week's episode is going to be a solo episode where I break down my 2020 and go into detail about my life and what I learned this year, along with an episode all about goal setting. So make sure you stay tuned for this. Otherwise, over to Taylor.
Taylor, welcome so much to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Really excited to have you on. Been a fan for a while now. I've been following you on TikTok. And I actually mentioned you were coming on the show a while ago and had a few people really excited about that. So you've obviously got quite a big reach.
Yeah, you got quite a big reach now on TikTok too. We see you out there.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm sure we'll get into some TikTok stuff for sure. But before we jump into all that fun stuff, I'd love to know a little bit about yourself, what you did after high school, and what you're currently up to.
Yes, so I am currently 20 years old. People know me as at Pricelesstay on social media. After high school, I went straight into college in pre-med. That did not work out. I dropped out due to medical reasons via a spinal fusion that I had to get from scoliosis. And so that was my entire life, my entire living going into pre-med. And when I dropped out, I had no idea what to do with life. So my mom's like, hey, you should try finance. I'm like, okay. So I went back into college, and I'm just about to finish up my bachelor's degree in finance and management. And during that entire time of, even now, still now, I'm just in my senior year finishing up my last semester, has once college not taught me anything about credit score, has taught me anything about Roth IRAs or any budgeting. Not at all. And so that is basically my mission and goal in this life, is to help kind of close this silent pandemic, which we're living in. Is not just the virus that we're living in, but the financial literacy gap.
Yeah, it's actually crazy. Because I'm so passionate about that as well, because I've asked I've had a lot of chats with my listeners, and I've questioned them and stuff. And one of the questions I asked was, what do you wish you learned in school? Without fail, every single person, the number one thing they say is finance. Like, how do I do my taxes? How do I do this? How do I do this? And it's like, it's just beyond. I've never met someone where I went, hey, I think we should be learning more money stuff at school. And I've gone, no, we shouldn't. It's like everyone agrees. So it is really such
a pain point and trigger for everyone. I've had so many people, and this is why TikTok is such a great platform, stating that it is a global problem. It's not something just in America. You're in Australia. It's not something just in Australia. It's literally a global pandemic that we live in. It's the second wave.
Yeah. Australia, Canada, UK, America. It doesn't matter where you're from. I don't think there's any country that's properly teaching us financial education. And it's just, it's mind-boggling. But that's awesome. You mentioned you're about to finish college.
Yeah, a few more weeks left. I am out on the road figuring out probably the same exact steps that most college graduates say. What do I actually want to do with my life? And do I want to go into a real full-time job, or do I want to continue doing what I'm doing, which currently right now is influencing, being finfluencer is what we like to call it, and owning a business on the side.
Is that finance influencer?
Yes, finfluencer.
That's good. And yeah, obviously you're crushing that. So do you want to tell us a little bit how, that started? So your mum was like, hey, you should do finance, and then you started studying and you just started putting out content. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I was at wit's end. I'm sure the audience can relate to, you guys can relate, that you have this massive dream that you've tried living your entire life for. I went to university when I was 16 to go to just medical programs. I did a summer internship in St. Louis, Missouri at such a young age too, all alone. And so when my mom told me to go in finance, I was like, okay, because I had no other clue of what I was going to do. And I'm sure if you have a question, you go ask your mom or your dad or some sort of brother, sister, family member, and that's what it came down to. And the first class that I had was monetary and fiscal policy. And when I went in, I realized, whoa, this is not the finance that I was really considering. I was thinking about credit score and all this other stuff, but I realized that they didn't teach that. And like I said, till this day, they don't teach that. And so I started this blog called Tap Investments right when this happened, and it started growing around my community. It was me just talking about how did I open up my Roth IRA, the steps that I took to do that. And it started growing word of mouth organically. And at this time, TikTok was not the platform to be on. It was your younger brother, sister type wanted to use it.
Like
it was
Musically?
still a second Musically. Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so about, I would say 10 months later from that is when I hopped on TikTok after a friend in LA. Obviously the trends always start off in LA where I'm influencing at. Is go ahead, try this. You can go viral. It's not like any other platform. You have such a good message. Do it. I slept on it until I went out into LA in December of 2019, January 2020. I'm here, might as well give it a shot. And so I did. And about my 10th video in, you could just see that, again, this is not a problem that I just encounter. This is a problem that millions and millions and millions of people encounter.
Yeah, it's worldwide. As you mentioned, it's a pandemic. It's a financial literacy pandemic. And that's so cool. Because I was the same. I was on TikTok, scrolling for months and months before I actually started. And, it's just kind of is it just for dancing? Is it just for kids and stuff? And I think now in late 2020, it's very clear it's not just for that. But when you started, were there many people doing kind of educational finance stuff?
It was so different. No, not really. I think I was actually the first female to hop on TikTok and start talking about investing in the stock market and finance. Back then, it was totally different culture and community. Like, going viral was very, very easy, I think, and people were a lot friendlier. I don't think cancel culture was really, really big.
Yeah.
Back in the very beginning of 2020, late 2019. And so I honestly missed that
So do I.
TikTok before it became really booming.
Yeah, it kind of sucks now. Like, I love TikTok, but I also kind of hate it. Like, I love the opportunity it presents, but also, as you mentioned, it's so toxic, and so many people just jump to hatred, especially when you put out educational content, because people aren't there to see educational content. And so when you pop up on their feed, they're like, who are you to tell me what to do, sort of thing. And it's like their fences are up.
I could not relate more. Like, that's seriously the thing. Like, there's so many of us on there, and we're a very tight-knit community, right, too, of doing the education, entertainment type stuff. And then there's all of the other people, I don't want to really segment that, doing like dancing, transitions,
comedy,
just voiceovers, comedy. And so when people see education, they can have one of two things. Like, one, they feel really intimidated and just scared or nervous, or two, they become really motivated and open up their eyes into what the power of social media can really act as a tool instead of a hyper addiction.
Yeah, and you said it so well. Like, I talk about it a lot. You can either let social media control you, or you can kind of control your social media. And so by and you can do that by choosing who to follow on these platforms. Like, if you're just following, pointless creators who don't really add much value to you, it's like, well, you're probably not going to be, it's not going to be that fulfilling when you're on the platform. And it's like, you can still follow those people, but if you add in, there's so many amazing, like, educational creators out there, like, so many cool ones that you come across who are so creative. It's like, you should be trying to consume that as opposed to just pointless dancing or something.
Agreed. Yep.
Let's move. So is it the kind of end of your story? And now you've got a company, you kind of started TikTok, and you've leveraged that growth and traffic to kind of push towards your company. You're running events for young people around finance and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So TikTok has brought an amazing opportunity. Like you said, it brings so many opportunities to a lot of variety of people. And so each month we run a different workshop where it's not just, the thing is, for me, school was not the best learning place because they're still learning how they were teaching back in the 1960s, the 1970s, and the 1980s.
Yeah.
Now we have the capabilities of using the internet and literally searching up something like, what is the Dewey Decimal System, and just give us a straight, quick answer, and then we know.
And it's like even stuff like, it'll be good to know how to calculate percentages and stuff. And it's like, that is really good to know, but I just use a percentage calculator on Google.
Exactly. Like the Roth IRA calculators. You don't have to do that on your Excel. You can just look up Roth IRA calculator online.
And just plug in the numbers. Like, I do get why that's an important skill, but also it's kind of not that important. And there's never going to be a situation where you don't have a computer or your phone on you. Like, it's just unrealistic nowadays.
Yeah, these tools are made for efficiency. And so with Tap Into It in these workshops, it's really being able to take action and apply those skills in real life. So many schools just teach in theory hypothetical situations that may not be applicable or relatable to somebody's financial situation. And so we do the exact opposite. The stuff that school does not prioritize, we get down and dirty, and we actually walk through literally a workshop and work together with the attendees at the workshop and really try to help and make a positive change. Yeah,
nice. And so what do you walk through? Like, what are the key, functions of your workshops, and what are the key financial stuff that you like to cover?
It really depends. So each and every workshop has different influencers, ranging from either real estate agents or business owners or stock investors, hedge fund managers. It really is all over the place. And so to answer your question, I wouldn't say there's a exact template. However, it really depends on the industry. Like, if you're opening up a Roth IRA may be a workshop, and it would be, okay, what exactly is a Roth IRA? First, here are the qualifications that you need. These are the opportunities that it presents. If you're interested and if you qualify, okay, let's move on to the next steps, and actually let's take action and start this right today, because it's so important. If you're not already having a Roth IRA, you need to open one today.
Yeah, and just because you're in America, we've got different terms for things. Roth IRA, is that like where you put away money for your retirement?
Yes, yeah, exactly. It's a tax-advantaged retirement account. So similarly to an ISA in the UK, similarly to a TFSA in Canada. I'm not sure about the noun it is in Australia, but I'm sure you guys have.
Super.
Yeah.
So, but it's ours is mandatory. Like, you don't have to make one. Whenever you get a job, it automatically goes into your super. So 10% of every 10% of everything an Australian earns, that money goes into your super, and it gets invested into stocks like Apple and stuff, and then it compounds over time, and you can't access it until you're 65 years old.
Wow. That is absolutely amazing. Guys, if you're not already in Australia and you're considering about opening up a retirement account, just move to Australia. They'll do it all for you. It's all good.
But like, it's so important. Like, honestly, it's not that hard to be rich. Like, it's, if you just follow the blueprint, it's hard to be rich overnight, but long term, it's not that hard. If you just invest like 10% of everything you earn, I would invest more than that. But if at bare minimum you invest 10% of everything you earn, like, and over a long period of time, I think I saw a really cool stat, and it was like, who's the wealthiest guy in the world? Not Jeff Bezos, but he invests. Warren Buffett. And it was like, from if he started investing at 20 to 60, he would only be worth 30 million. But because he's been investing from 11 to 90, he's worth like 60 billion. And so it's like, that's a massive difference just because of the time he's been in the market.
The power of compound interest is a real thing. Albert Einstein, there's a really, really great quote from him that talks about the power of compound interest.
Do you know it?
No.
I was like, anyway, are you going to say it?
No, I'm trying to think of it. I can't remember, but if you're listening to this, go check it out.
He's a smart guy. I'm sure he knows what he's talking about. Yeah, awesome. And so I guess, I don't know, did you want to talk about like just some simple finance tips for any young listeners out there who are like, okay, great, Taylor, I understand the importance of financial literacy and how I need to be managing my money, but what do I do? Like, as you mentioned, do I open a Roth RIA? Obviously you need to research based on what country you're living in, but it's like, what are the first steps do we just start changing our mindset and how we learn? Like, what are the first steps?
Yeah, so I think this is a great question because I get it so often. And for me, I'm a visual learner. So if I'm presented like an infographic, I'll learn a lot better. So I'm going to try to do this verbally. And so our parents told us growing up that money trees were non-existent. I'm going to prove to you in this a matter of a few minutes on why I think they're wrong. So imagine just a money tree. We obviously start off with a seed. That's how trees grow. And so that seed in finance is budgeting. In order for this tree to be absolutely like plentiful and growing a lot of money, you need to have a very, very defined budget. I like to say needs, wants, savings. Those are the three top categories that you should really have in your budget. Of course, then your needs fall under if you have a mortgage, if you're paying rent, have gas expenses, something like that. Wants, guys and girls, Starbucks, PS5, really differs. Yeah. And then savings is going to be something maybe for a big trip, something like a retirement account, just something like a regular high yield savings account. And so if you're able to contribute to the different aspects of that budget, this tree will start to grow. Now you water that tree with some good credit score, you start your retirement account, and eventually this tree kind of grows into a small sapling, kind of very small tree. I'm forgetting the term.
Sapling, anyway. That's right.
Yeah, sapling. Okay,
I think is Minecraft saplings. That's how I recognize it.
Yeah. now you have this tree. You're continuing to inject it with some good stuff, that great credit score and following all the rules of credit. You've got your retirement account, you've got your budgeting aligned, because that's where it all stems from. Now you're at the point where you need to start making some branches, and in order for those branches to really succeed, you need to have some sort of money coming behind it. And so with these branches, they are not guaranteed. Branches can get struck by lightning easily, and they can just fall off, or you have some massive destruction, wildfires. I know that's something that's prevalent, unfortunately, in Australia. I'm just trying to make it a little bit visual. And so something like turning your side hustle into a business is a branch that is not guaranteed, but can be very profitable if you succeed.
Yeah.
That was not supposed to be a rhyme, but it was. Another is like investing into real estate, something that's not guaranteed, but you can succeed with it. The stock market or digital currencies, anything on that top part of the tree. Now, that's when you can see the money really starts producing for you. For example, if you're investing into dividends, which are cash payments from the stock market, that's a passive income. You don't have to do anything. You just let your money sit, and your money is being made for you. And so this whole entire concept that we're talking about is the literal money tree. It's not something that's found in nature. It's something that's found in your bank account, and it is green. And yes, you can grow it, and you can continuously make those money leaves and succeed financially.
Yeah, I love it. I love the analogy, and I love how like the branches are not guaranteed, and it's like I've had that in my life. Like I've built quite a few branches, and I've broken off, and you know that's fine. Actually, I think it's good. You know, failure is important, and so I think so many people will not even plant the seed.
Yeah, I mean, again, testifying it back to school, it's not really taught. And one way in which that I like to discuss about money is that, hey, we all grew up with our parents or guardians telling us we should never talk about religion, politics, and money in front of somebody. But I totally disagree with that. We should be talking about money. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we know how to do things. A lot of people, that's literally how we learn to walk and how we learn to talk. By seeing other people doing it and then mimicking it in our own way and eventually finding ourselves.
I was exactly the same. When I was a kid, I was so fascinated by money, and like when my parents bought our home, I wanted to know like how much did you pay for it? Like how does this all work? And you know, they were still like hesitant to tell me, and I like never knew why. It's like why don't people tell me how much, you know, they paid for the home? Because I swear from like 10 years old, I want to know how much homes cost, because you've got no idea when you're a kid. Is it like $10,000? Is it $100,000? Is it $500,000? Like you've got no concept. And you're right. People are just, you know, they'll avoid talking about money the same way they'll talk about sex. It's like so taboo. I just don't understand why. And so whenever I talk about like my own finances and stuff on the podcast, I just share everything, because it's like, I know when I was younger, that's what I would have wanted to hear. And it's like, because that's how you learn. You learn from other people.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just human connections are something that have been on for years, and they're never going to end. And like I said, it's literally the process of being born to crawling to eventually doing whatever in the middle between walking and crawling, stumbling, and then getting up and learning how to run. It's the same step. And money's just an uncomfortable and stressful topic. Like in America, that's one of the primary reasons for divorce, and why so many parents lead in divorce because of a financial issue or situation.
Yeah, I talk about like on the show quite a bit, like it's not money doesn't matter. Money shouldn't be your number one drive, but you need to have good finances. Otherwise, like if you've ever had financial stress, it's one of the worst kind of stresses you'll ever experience. Like when I started my business, I had it, and it was like just a nightmare, because you're like, I'm waiting for this payment to come through. I've got to chase up invoices because there's nothing in my bank account and stuff. And so if you can get control of your finances, you'll be able to live a much more stress-free life. As you mentioned, same in Australia, money and finance is a leading cause for divorce. And it's like, wow, if you can understand that, you know, why would you not get your finances sorted? It blows my mind. Why would you not like try sort it out, learn as much as you can, because you're going to be using money every single day of your life, so you might as well have it under control.
And starting young has even better benefits than starting later on in life. There, like we talked about earlier, there's the benefit of compound interest. If you start today, 60 years from now, you can become a millionaire off of that. If you start being a little bit riskier in the stock market and may be able to be a little bit more profitable by taking on more risk, you will have more money compared to as though if you start later towards retirement, that money needs to be safe and it needs to be low risk because you need to eventually retire off of that money. So guys, you need to start today if you're listening to this. It's
being young with finance is like
powerful.
a superpower. Like, as we mentioned with the Warren Buffett example, you know, he went from having a net worth of 30 million to like 60 billion just through an extra kind of 10, 20 years on each side of his age. So it's just like crazy how important it is to get started while you're young. And it doesn't, even if you don't have much money, it's just building those habits so you can start learning how it works, start budgeting with what you've got so you build those habits early. And I think that's really important because a lot of people will have like, I've only got $100 in my account. Well, like, what do I do? Well, every time you earn, start putting some money away in your savings, and that way you can start building that habit. So when you are earning $80,000 a year, you've built that habit already and you're not going to go spend it all. Because I don't know if you talk about lifestyle inflation a lot.
I really don't, but I know what the concept is, and I do notice it. Like, example, if you make $50,000 a year, you're contributing 30% of your income. We're just allocating a percentage, and then you make $100,000 a year, and you're still doing that same exact dollar amount, which you're putting into a savings account. Yeah,
you're not upping. You should be maintaining 30% of whatever you earn. So if it's 50,000, it's 20,000 or whatever, and if it's 100,000, it's 30,000, whatever it is. But yeah, lifestyle inflation is a big one. I find I guess it depends on the age of your audience.
I think for mine, everybody's just learning how to crawl. Like, we're just freshly born, and it's in that stage of, first off, getting in the right mindset that money shouldn't be as stressful as it was in your parents' life or previous lives before that. It should be something that you can enjoy, that you enjoy making, that you enjoy spending, that it can literally be a tool to help you get to your dreams. If you want to travel all over the world, you can do that. If you want to meet somebody, you can go pay to do that. If you want to go to an elite school, an Ivy League school, you can go ahead and do that.
Yeah, exactly. And the way we kind of frame it is money can be a tool for what you want to achieve, or like a tool for impact. So it's like you can use it to, and if you've got money, it'll make starting a business a lot easier. And I know so many young people want to start a business now, and it's like if you've got some upfront savings or cash, like you can use it as a bit of a benchmark or something, that a safety net in case it goes to crap, or you can use that to invest early on so you actually have full control of your company. So it's like it's just so important. But I also kind of wanted to shift on and kind of just talk a little bit about your social media strategy and TikTok and stuff, because I know there's so many young people who look up to you, especially because you're a woman doing finance stuff. And, I think you put a post saying you have like 70% women following you.
Yeah, 73 today. Currently it is 73%. Yeah.
Which is so cool, because obviously finance has been quite a male-dominated industry for like ever. And so seeing that is amazing. And what kind of what is your strategy? Like, what advice would you give to someone who's looking to start out as an influencer? I use, the bunny ears or whatever, because it's kind of like a cringy term nowadays. But like someone who wants to put out content on TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, like what tips and advice would you have to them?
First off, vulnerability. I think why TikTok has done so well and why people have been able to grow massive followings is that compared to the other platforms like Instagram, where everybody's dolled up, everybody's looking their best self, it is a complete highlight reel of the best moments of people's lives. Then you go over to Facebook. Well, it's not really part of our community. It's a little bit of like millennial, later Gen X,
for sure,
baby boomers. And then you go over to Snapchat, which kind of hits well, but it has that kind of reputation sometimes of being that that fling app.
I don't use Snapchat anymore.
Yeah, I don't, it's toxic.
It's so
I
bad.
don't use it either. And then you have TikTok where there is an explosive amount of emotions. You have people crying. You have crying because of their dog died, or crying because they just got a job, and you're literally like living with somebody in their life and experiencing those emotions in the matter of like 15 to 60 seconds that no other platform presented prior to TikTok. And so vulnerability has to be my number one tip, especially for people who are just starting out. It's people literally read through it, and with that also comes consistency. Once you start building a little followers here or there, they want to build a connection with you. If you're going to be vulnerable, you can't just ghost them like Snapchat. You gotta like Snapchat's literal icon is the ghost.
I know, how crazy is that? They like invented ghosting.
Yeah. So consistency has to be the next key.
Yeah, awesome. And so with consistency, like how often are you posting?
It really depends. As of currently, basically 1 to 2 times a day. However, on a time where I'm not so busy, 3 to 5 times a day. And the reason how I'm able to do this, I get asked by so many of my quote unquote influencer friends, Taylor, how are you able to like attend school full time, run your business full time, and do this full time? I do time blocking. Elon Musk does it. He's a G. You should check it out. It's every Sunday I spend basically the whole day doing anything that relates to social media. So I'll do my YouTube video for the week. I'll do any Instagram story guides for the week. I'll do any reels for the week, and I'll do any TikToks for the week. And so that aspect of consistency, if something comes up, there's no excuses because I've already prepared for that excuse to come up.
So you're just time blocking it all on Sunday. And obviously right now you're probably not going out too much with the pandemic. So it's a great time to take advantage of it. And I don't know if you're seeing it. I'm seeing quite a massive drop in views for a lot of creators right now.
So many of my friends are like, Taylor, are you experiencing like this huge amount of views dropped? And yes, I am now. Once somebody pointed it out to me, I didn't realize it at first, or maybe it might have hit my account a little bit later. I don't know if it's because there's more and more people that are flocking to the platform, and it's just harder to get more views and more people. Like I said, you don't have to be an A-list celebrity and an influencer to use TikTok. You can be an average person working anywhere, or you can be like Dogface, who came from a low-income family and was just going on a skateboard and drinking some ocean spray cranberry juice, and then all of a sudden your life has changed.
Or like angry reactions or something. He just exploded.
Yeah.
The thing I like to say is if you put out good content on TikTok, it will go viral. That's the beauty of TikTok. On Instagram, you could put out the most amazing piece of content and no one might see it. But on TikTok, it will go viral if it's good content, which is why it's such an amazing platform. And yeah, I've noticed drops in so many channels. Like every time I see like an educational account, I click on it and I have a look at like the views to follow ratio, and I'm like, oh my gosh, everyone is dropping in views. Like, and myself included.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, because I always analyze like our accounts, like educational accounts, because that's what my whole following page is. I think it could just be, the platform's getting older now. TikTok's coming up to like 2 or 3 years. There's over 1 billion people. Well, there was over 1 billion before India got wiped out of TikTok. So actually, I would have thought India going would have promoted more views, but I'm honestly not too sure. I did think they were creating like a education section for TikTok. I heard that ages ago, but it never came through because I was really excited for that.
Yeah, not yet.
They're talking about putting
learn on TikTok.
Yeah, they were talking about putting a third tab on TikTok for educational content. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing.
We're in.
I know. I was like, this is what I've been preparing for. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just crazy. But I've been noticing a big drop. So like, not to discourage any listeners, but like get on now, because it's probably only going to get worse and get harder.
Most definitely. Like I said, back when I first started, it was so easy to add viral video after viral video after viral video. And then as time went on and TikTok had the most ever downloads, fun fact, TikTok had the most ever downloads within an app ever, even beat Facebook in Q1 of January 2020. So a huge millions and millions and millions of users downloaded it that first quarter. And you can see literally April, May, June, it was a little harder, a little harder, a little harder. Now you go to it, it takes a lot to get a viral video.
Yeah, it does. Like I've actually I don't know about you, but sometimes I have some videos like hit in a row. I'll go like a week with none of my videos hit, and then I'll have like a week where like 4 or 5 hit at once, and it's like I don't understand. Like it's so like I guess my strategy, and I think yours might be as well, is kind of just throw enough mud on the wall and one will stick. Like just keep putting out content, and one of them's gonna hit, right?
That is exactly it.
Yeah, and so because you see something, it's scary to put a lot of work into a video and then have it, not do well, and you're like, oh. And so for me, I just put out heaps of content, and hopefully one of them is going to go off. But yeah, it's an amazing platform.
That's why I say, like, first off, I love to throw the mud on the wall.
Yeah.
Stick. But the 3 to 5, that's why I say 3 to 5 is kind of like my comfort zone, because I know throughout the day that either that 3 to 5, one of them will do good. And that is like a proven fact for my own personal account. So I 100% agree, like creating that heaps and heaps of content, one of them's got to stick someday.
Yeah. And if you, like, I guess for anyone who's looking to start getting into influencing or TikTok or whatever it is, my advice would be just go start following accounts like like Taylor, like mine, like all other, whatever niche or niche you're in, figure that out and go follow other creators and just copy what they're doing and just see how you can start getting in, and try get in now, because as we mentioned, it's only going to get harder and harder to go viral.
Most definitely. Yeah, I agree. But now we're seeing interesting topic to have is the boom of reels on Instagram. So I've actually, I don't know if it's in Australia yet, but it is in the United States. Okay, very cool. So I had about 20,000 or so followers, probably like 2 to 3 weeks ago. And ever since I started republishing my most viral videos on TikTok onto Reels, I hit 50,000 today.
Yeah,
and
I've
never seen. I've gotten large creators coming to me and be like, "Wow, your Reels are on fire!" Like I have 3 million impressions on TikTok, which is like unheard of for like such a small account, and it's just crazy that if you're not already on it, you should hop on it.
Yeah, I am on Reels. I don't get anything on Reels compared to TikTok. Like I literally posted a video and it got 800,000 views on TikTok, and then on Reels it got 800 views. Same video, and I'm just like, oh man.
That's a discouraging factor, but again, consistency is key. Yes.
Yeah, and like I think the reason I don't like Reels too much is because it favors creators who already have a following. Like for you, it's probably going to be really good now because you've built that up to like 50,000. But like the beauty of TikTok is anyone can kind of start and then like blow up. But if first of all, I've never ever gone on Reels, like the feed. Like I don't know, I just find it silly to just watch.
I've never either.
Just watched repurposed TikToks. Like I'll just go to TikTok.
Yeah.
And it feels like more kind of millennial, like I don't know. It's just, and every single reel is just like a blue check. Every single reel I find, it's just like, or they've already got 1 million followers. It's like I don't want to see people who are already like living their best life. Like it was exactly what you said before.
Yes.
Instagram is so like polished and it's already like living their best life, and TikTok is like. The example you gave of like a dog dying, that happened to me yesterday. I was having a laugh scrolling through my feed, and then this girl's just like, my dog just got hit by a car and now he's paralyzed, and she was raising money, and I swear I started crying. It was like, and it was a husky, which is my dream dog, and I was just like, oh my god. So
the vulnerability and relatability, the empathy. There's, like I said, people get what's dopamine hit when they start feeling other people's emotions, and it like really feeds into, I want to keep feeling this, I want to feel more of this certain thing, and the algorithm is so good at picking up that kind of stuff.
Yeah, 100%. I actually saw these guys, they did a test and they analyzed and they found out that TikTok actually sets like an attractiveness rating for you. And so, because you know how
God. Scale of 1 to 10?
I don't know, but like they can kind of tell how attractive you are based on like how your followers convert and stuff, and it kind of filters out like by that. And I was like, oh my gosh, because you see it, like always good looking creators just blow up, right? It's like such a big thing. Yeah. And once again, they can be discouraging if anyone's out there and they don't think they're good looking, and they're like, I can't be on social media because I'm not good looking. And it's like, just start putting out content.
And if you're thinking that way, you are the hottest and baddest bee I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah, I agree. I second that. But actually, what would you say, because a big thing, and I had this as well, you probably had it as well, we kind of call it imposter monster. It's like when you're like, who am I to be putting out content? Like, what are people going to think about me? Do I have the qualifications to be talking about finance, or am I allowed to be doing this? Like, did you have that block?
Yes, it comes in waves. So it really depends if I'm in the addiction of looking at comments and seeing those exact comments where, oh, she's just a girl in finance. She doesn't run her own hedge fund. Who is she to say anything about the stock market? So then that's when it comes in, like, should I continue my master's and get my CFA and eventually do that so I can be credible? Or can I just explain what I know and continuously learn through the power of the internet and social media platforms like TikTok and share it with my followers? And it's hard to overcome. I think it does take some time. But you just gotta keep with it and block out all the imposter syndrome that you may have, because you will be surprised how many people don't know the information and what you're talking about, at least if you're an informational type influencer.
Especially like, you're not talking about like advanced finance, like hedge funds and stuff. You're just talking to like young kids who want to get started. So you don't need to know. Like, I talk about this because I've had a lot of younger guests on my podcast lately, and I almost think it's more valuable than having like a massive CEO, because people like yourself and other younger guests I've had on, they're like 4 or 5 steps ahead of my listeners, as opposed to a massive CEO who's like 1,000 steps ahead. It's just like, oh my God, he's so far ahead. It's almost like, do I want to learn from him? But someone like yourself, it's like, oh, she's only 19 or 20. Like, that could be me in 2 or 3 years. That's achievable.
Exactly.
And I think it's so valuable.
Yeah, it's, again, that aspect of relatability. If somebody can relate to you and think that they can achieve the same thing as you can, because maybe you're just somebody who's similar in age, or you're a similar gender, race, ethnicity, stand for the same culture, then it is a lot more easier in that aspect.
Yeah, you've just got to define your niche, or your niche, however you pronounce it. Like, for me, it's 15 to 22-year-olds.
Niche.
Yeah, we say niche over here. Yeah, but for me, it's 15 to 22-year-olds. For you, I think it's young people as well. And so that's important, because the imposter monster, or the imposter syndrome, is, I think, a block that every single one faces. And I feel like people think people who just put out content don't have that block. So I think it's important to be like, actually, we do have that block. We just kind of just push through it. And anyone successful, I found, just pushes through it.
Yeah. Consistency is key. You just got to keep going with it. And one day, boom, who knows? Maybe you will be an A-list celebrity who's Bill Nye the Science Guy, or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just before we get to my final question, I'd love to know, do you have any more like practical finance tips? Like the tree example you have, are there any like massive, really important concepts you love to talk about regularly that you'd love for the listeners to hear?
Yeah, again, this comes to the motivational aspect. And even if you think that you don't know much about money, just try to start. Pick up a book. Start following educators like Byron and myself, and start immersing yourself into a culture that is going to resemble what you want in life. There is this quote that if you surround yourself with the 5 people who you want to be like, you will start inheriting those exact traits of those people. So it's not an exact, okay, this is a financial tip, here's the calculation you have to do. No, it's not that. It's start immersing yourself with people that are successful in finance, that you can start taking some different financial tips, tricks, advice that you want, and you can start implementing it for your financial future.
Yeah, it's so important. Like, it's baby step. It's just start planting the seed, really. It's just plant the seed. Because without the seed, you're not going to have a tree.
You love it. It's a seed.
Yeah. I'm going to use that from now on. Without the seed, there's no tree, right? You need to, and now's the best time to plant the seed while you're young. Like now, the soil is the most fertile it's ever going to be. There you go. You can use that.
Oh my God, he's just rolling with it, guys.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, well, thank you so much, Taylor. And every episode, I ask my guests this final question, and it's, what would your number one piece of advice be for the younger generation? It doesn't have to be finance related. Just, what would your number one piece of advice be?
Feel comfortable in your own skin. Start doing things that you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything because of, again, a certain race, gender, ethnicity, a different culture or community that you might be a part of. There are so many people out there in the world that will connect with you and love you for who you are. I love you. So yeah, that'll have to be the best piece of advice. Yeah,
and I mean, you're a great example. As we mentioned before, you're a woman in the finance industry, which is, tough. There's always going to be groups of people that you can find that are your people. And so if you want to get into finance, I know a company called Ladies Finance Club. And if you're a woman who wants to get into finance, you could join that club. Like, that's a easy example. But awesome. So for anyone listening and they want to find out more about you, they find you on TikTok, Instagram, like, where's the best place to go to find out more?
At Pricelesstay. My name's Taylor Price. It's a play on words, Pricelesstay.
That's so your name is actually Taylor Price.
Yes, yeah. That's my real legit name. No names have been changed in the process of creating Pricelesstay. This is legit. This is authentic. This is real.
Wow, you were born to be in finance.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so Pricelesstay on TikTok, on Instagram, on any other platforms. Guys, go check her out. And Taylor, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yes, thank you so much, Byron.
That's it for this episode of the Driven Young podcast. Thank you so much for listening to the entire episode. That means the world to me. And if you got some value out of it, please shoot me a message on Instagram or reach out to me. Or I would love for you to leave a rating or review on this podcast. So make sure you are subscribed, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.